Do you have any advice for people who are interested in trying Scotch, but either intimidated by the vast selection, don't necessarily know the regions, or are kind of put off by, the sense of like the Scotch is for a select few?
Absolutely. The first thing that's really important, no matter what you're drinking, no matter what brand it is, no matter what region it's from, what you have to focus on is nosing and tasting the Scotch properly. You're not going to be able to make an objective decision about what you like without taking the time to nose your whiskey for at least 10 or 15 seconds, hold under your nose continuously, keep your lips parted, breathe in gently, and once you get past the high alcohol by volume, you'll get some of the sweeter and more earthy tones. That's the first indication of flavour that's contained in the liquid. Then, when you take a sip, don't just knock it back, chew it in your mouth like a candy for about 5 or 6 seconds, so that you'll get a full range of flavours. And when your mouth's empty, chew again, see what lingers on the palate. That's your surest guide to what you're going to enjoy based on your taste buds, based on your preferences. Beyond that, you should really seek out a Scotch bar that sells flights, or it's reasonably priced, so you can try a lot of different styles. Fundamentally, wood is 60 to 80% the raw flavour, colour and texture of the liquid. So you really want to pay attention to what kind of wood the whiskey's been aged in, and then after you might want to check whether or not the whiskey's been peated. Because if it's peated, it's going to be a lot more smoky, and perhaps even a bit more medicinal, and that's more of a love it or hate it element when it comes to Scotch. So the key thing is what you enjoy, the production in terms of peat, and also the maturation in terms of wood. Those three factors, and hopefully quite a large wallet and a lot of patience, will really stand you in very good stead when you're starting your single malt journey. Remember, you can add water to dilute. That'll give you a more open nose in the whiskey. That'll make it lighter on the palate. If you want to add ice, you can, but I'd recommend trying it neat first. When you add ice, it'll freeze the fats in the liquid and give it flavour. And as such, you're cutting the dram in half. Remember, if you absolutely have to have ice, try a very large, slow-to-melt ice cube, or even better, an ice ball. There's less surface area, so it'll keep the Scotch cool, but it won't dilute it. Other than that, have fun and enjoy yourself. Scotch is totally unpretentious. The most important thing is to enjoy it for what it is. We've been making it the same way for over 200 years, so you can do your bit to burnish the history of Scotch by drinking as much as possible in a controlled environment.
So if you were to take somebody who's never had Scotch before, and you pour them a flight of 4 different Scotches, what do you think is the best 4 Scotches to start somebody who's literally, this is the first time Scotch whiskey's come over their palate?
Generally, I'd say it's an impossible question. I'll attempt to answer it. I'd recommend that there's at least one blended Scotch. Then there should be at least one single malt from Speyside. Ideally, an island Scotch. You should maybe try and inquire what level of abrasion the person's looking for, because some island Scotches are valued for being very astringent and very peaty and medicinal, whereas others are quite soft and peppery. Thereafter, you should also have at least one whiskey which has had some sherry influence, either as a sherry finish or aged the entire life of the spirit in a sherry barrel. That way, you're getting the difference between a blend and a single malt. You're getting a classic Speyside, and then after that you're getting a peated Scotch and you're getting a sherried Scotch. Those to me are your kind of 4 generic flavour profiles, and that's a good starting point. Based on what you like out of those 4, you can then bounce to another flight which perhaps emphasises those characteristics you like or challenges them a little bit. Again, it's down to how good your bartender is and how well stocked they are.
So when you get down to age statements on bottles, it seems like, it can be kind of intimidating to look at a bottle and this is a 18, this is a 12, this is a 10. What's your advice for the new Scotch drinker in terms of how to approach it? Do you approach it at the highest number you can afford? Do you start at the bottom and work your way up? What do you think is a good tack to kind of deal with age statements?
The key thing to understand is the age in a bottle of whiskey is the youngest by law that's contained in that bottle. So in a single malt, it's a mixture of lots of different ages of whiskey from that distillery put together to form that bottle, that specific flavour profile. So for example, in a Highland Park 18-year-old, who'll probably find whiskey as old as 20 to 23 to 27 years, we can afford to overage our whiskey because we have a great deal of stock. Now what you'll find with that is that the 18-year-old will vary greatly to, for example, a Highland Park 15 or a Highland Park 12-year-old. There's slight differences in the recipe and the overall makeup of the Scotch based on the type of casks used, then also the amount of first fill versus refill, And thereafter, it's all about the aging of the whiskey over and above the year that's on the bottle. So I wouldn't necessarily suggest that older means better, it just means different. Once again, you have to be fairly objective in your approach and try lots of different things. I wouldn't ever believe the adage that older's better, because fundamentally that just brings you back to the idea of a fool and his money are soon parted. When it comes down to it, just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's better either. But if you absolutely need to show off, I'm sure there's other more cost-effective ways to do it.
What do you think is the biggest myth about Scotch whiskey that you feel like you can debunk or unseat?
That's a very easy one. It's delicious with chocolate milk. No, in all honesty, I think that the most important thing for the whiskey industry going forward is that there's more transparency, that people have a better idea of how whiskey's made, why it tastes the way it does. And we're getting away from some of the more traditional tourist board images of Scotland and focusing more on the craft of distilling. People know where the effort is, they know why it costs what it does, and they can appreciate the nuances and flavours in a real variety of whiskies, because there's so many great ones that are now available in the States, and there's great distribution even for the smallest distilleries in Scotland. So in many respects, I think the main thing is to understand, in terms of a myth, that the only one is that there's only one brand for you. There's lots of different flavour profiles, a lot of them overlap, so just drinking one whiskey would be, I guess the equivalent would be in music, listening to one song by one band every day for the rest of your life. You need other sounds and other textures in order to make your music listening experience complete. So I would say the myth is don't just drink one whiskey, try lots of different ones and see what areas and subsets you enjoy.
So even if you've done a tasting and you pick one out and you're triumphant and you found one, taste, keep flighting, keep tasting around and
Absolutely.
see what else is out there.
If you're having a flight of scotch, depending on your wallet and indeed the time and patience of the bartender, you might only have 4 or 5 whiskies, maybe 10 at a push at a grand tasting. Beyond that, there's hundreds of different whiskies you could try. I think the key thing to do is take your time, be patient, make notes and work out what works for you, and never lose your thirst for both knowledge and for the whiskey itself, because it will reward you in so many ways.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.